you been trying to get your spouse to go to therapy and they're not going? Have you been asking your spouse to go to counseling and they constantly just say they don't want to go, you don't have time, you don't have money, it's not worth it, you don't want to share your information with someone else? Do you have a spouse that is not wanting to go to counseling? This is a very, very common thing and something that I want to talk about. And I want to talk about how we can, I don't want, basically how we can get your spouse to go to counseling, but I can't promise that, but I can teach you guys some skills and some strategies and how to increase the probability and improving the atmosphere of your home so that your spouse would maybe be open to going. Again, we can't control other people, but I'm hoping that this video can be helpful and it can be encouraging, because there are times when things in the home are not going well and we can feel really frustrated because the other person is not getting it or seeing your perspective, and we can get tired, we can get exhausted. So I'm really hoping that this can be helpful. So my name is Heidi Waldoch. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm also the owner of Bridging Hope Counseling. We are a local agency in Minnesota. We have offices in Lino Lakes, Buffalo, and Rogers, Minnesota. We are open for counseling for either telehealth, or we do have some therapists that are seeing people in person, and we take insurance. We also are on YouTube, so please check us out on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. All right, so I'm going to talk about how to get your spouse to go to therapy. How do we do this? So the first thing that I'm going to say in how we do this is you need to picture it in your mind. All right, I know that this may sound kind of odd and a little weird, but if we don't put forth our faith into something that feels really, really impossible, it is going to feel really impossible. So we need to first step out and imagine it. So picture in your mind sitting in a therapist's office. You and your spouse are together in a therapy office. Like, picture 6 months down the road, picture a year down the road, and start to imagine in your mind you're communicating well, you're gaining those skills, you're being effective, and you're showing each other love. Okay, so start to picture it in your mind. This is like the first thing, and I'm going to say out of all these tips, this is probably the most effective, because a lot of times we go back to what we see instead of what we're looking for and what we're wanting and what we're hoping for. All right. The next one is that offer to go together. We want to be careful not to just say, you need help, you need counseling. That is the people are going to be very defensive about that. And so offer to go together. And then the next one is that you can go. Okay. So if your spouse is not open to going, you go. All right. And then the next one is, don't point the finger and blame. I kind of said that before, but you want to use I statements and speak your truth. So instead of me saying, you just yell all the time and you don't treat me the way that I want you to treat me, speak your truth, which could be, I am hurt that we haven't gone on a date night and haven't spent quality time together. I would like us to go to counseling and talk about this. I feel hurt that you got angry because I didn't put the garbage away the other night. So you're speaking your truth instead of pointing the finger and telling your spouse what they're not doing. This is what I would say, even without counseling or without going to counseling. This is a tip for those with your marriage to do, is to really speak your truth. It can be very hard for us to do because we're, again, like I said before, our eyes are looking at the behavior that we see in front of us instead of kind of coming internally and speaking what our truth is. All right, so the next one is that if they don't go and you go, allow your transformation to show how impactful counseling can be, and do not make it conditional. If you do go to counseling, don't go to try to get them to go. Go because you're genuinely wanting to improve yourself. So you go and your attitude is, help me to improve me. Help me to see what is my part. Help me to know what is it that I can do to improve my marriage. Okay, a lot of times we'll go, and yes, it does feel good to vent. It does feel good to say they did this, they did. It feels good to get it out. However, we want the goal to be improve me, because here's the deal. Even though you see this behavior in front of you, it is empowering to be able to see transformation within yourself and to be able to walk in peace and walk in joy, even when it's not going on around you. And pointing the fingers doesn't make it better. it only just makes you feel good for a little bit. So that's why I'm saying you can go to a counselor, you can vent and complain about whatever is going on with your spouse, but really the reality is you still got the same problem at the end. You still got to deal with what you have to deal with. So I'm trying to give strategies that actually help instead of just put a band-aid on it. Okay. So venting and complaining about your spouse feels good in the moment, but it is not going to help. And if you have a spouse that is not willing to go to counseling, you being able to really work on yourself, to be able to be at peace for yourself, to be at joy for yourself, find out something that you enjoy doing and improve your well-being, then you go back into the home and you bring that atmosphere of joy, you bring that atmosphere of peace. You start to realize, well, gosh, this is something that I did and I'm learning this from counseling. I'm sorry that I did this. So even though you're not in counseling, you now can take these things and you can practice it in the home, and they can see, wow, they're really improving. Like, that was awesome. Like, they didn't even blame me. They just said something that they did. And it's starting to plant these seeds and shifting the atmosphere in the home that they can feel safe to go to counseling. All right. And then the next thing is to tell them what's going well. All right. Sometimes we can really, really focus on the things that are not going well. And you want to tell them how important they are and that you would want to invest in the relationship. Okay, so focus on what you want. Like I was saying before, picturing it in a mind, then communicate that. I want us to have fun together. I want us to learn communication tools. I want us to improve our parenting skills, and I want to better encourage you. Maybe we can go on vacation together. I want to figure out how we can do that. So it's what you want and putting forth the things that are purpose-filled instead of what they're not doing and what is not happening. So the next one is get curious with any response. So this is, I've talked about this on some other videos, but getting curious is a technique that allows you to start to wonder instead of make a reaction right away. So you want to take a breath. Oh my gosh, they just totally attacked me and said, why would I go to therapy with you? You won't listen to the therapist anyways. You're just going to turn the therapist against me. Attack, attack, attack. Okay, deep breath. Yeah, I'm wondering about that. Yeah, it sounds like you feel like if we go to therapy, you're going to feel like I'm just going to get the therapist to be on my side and that I'm just going to attack you. Yeah, it sounds like you're pretty upset about that and that you don't feel like it would be helpful. Listen, don't be reactive. Okay? This is the whole piece of what we need to work on so that they feel safe to actually go into therapy in the first place. So just get curious. You want to validate them, okay? Don't be reactive. Get curious and start to wonder instead of making assumptions. And then the last one is to not give up, okay? Just because you ask and they say, no, I don't want to go to counseling. It's too expensive. We don't have time. I don't want to tell my problems to a stranger. Don't give up. It's a big deal for people to take a step to go to counseling, and with a lot of the stigmas with mental health and where people kind of grew up and saying, oh, I don't, that's for crazy people, or that's for people that have issues and we don't have issues. We want to kind of let that sink in and give it another try. Maybe if they say no, try it again a different time. Maybe do some research on this. As you're watching this video, find some other things that talk about this and figure out a way to approach your spouse in a more peaceful way. Just like some of the things that I was talking about at a different time. Maybe say, is this a good time? And say, remember I asked about counseling and you said no. I found a therapist. You can do the research and say, and they're really close to our house. They take our insurance. And it's a male or it's a female or whatever, you can kind of find someone that you feel that they'd be comfortable with and say, I really would like us to invest in our marriage and it's confidential. Do you think we could schedule an appointment? Would you be willing to come with me? I really would like us to go. This would make me feel really happy, or this would make me feel really loved. Because the reality is, you guys, we all want to feel loved. We all want to feel heard. We all want to feel important. it is something that we all desire. And sometimes when we are married, we learn how to communicate well with each other because you just get kind of comfortable with each other. You're focusing on the kids, or you're focusing on work, or and especially with the things going on in our country right now, you kind of lose track of, I need to invest in you and we need to invest in us. And so you lose track of these things. It's good to be able to get an outside perspective, to learn different communication skills, how to speak your truth instead of just attack and blame, how to let things go and forgive. It's really nice to have a different perspective. And also, this is the really cool thing, is to have somebody else say, wow, you guys are an amazing couple. I see why you guys are together. And to have somebody that sees you and just believes in you, it's really cool to be able to have that encouragement and somebody who's rooting for you. And so you can be excited to go back and have somebody to say, oh, it's so wonderful to see you guys. And just to have somebody that's like proud of the progress that you're making. So I hope this was helpful. Again, really, really believe in marriage counseling, or working together if you have a boyfriend and girlfriend as well. It doesn't just have to be marriage, but it's really, really important to take this time, especially with the things that we have going on in our country right now, to invest in your relationship, especially if you have children, and even keeping them a part of it, and say, mommy and daddy are learning how to talk about how we communicate. And that is huge for them to see that you're working on that. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you were encouraged.